Melody Shari shared a message that quickly sparked conversation online. She explained that a person can give their audience major discounts throughout the year, even up to 80% off, and allow people to see large parts of their life for free for years. But the moment they decide to charge for exclusive content, some people begin to complain. For a long time, Melody openly shared her journey through interviews, social media, and especially during her time on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Many bloggers and content creators built their platforms by discussing her public posts and appearances, and some even monetized that content without issue. Now that she has chosen to place certain content on Patreon, a few critics feel entitled to continue receiving everything for free. Melody's message was simple. People spend money on what they value. If someone believes the content is worth it, they will pay. If they don't, they can simply choose not to subscribe. She made it clear that joining her Patreon is completely optional, and no one is forced to support it. Melody also addressed the idea of entitlement. She pointed out that if someone followed her for years and didn't grow or learn anything from the free content she shared, that responsibility falls on them. At the same time, she highlighted her strong work ethic, mentioning ongoing projects, website updates, and the continuous effort she puts into expanding her brand. Supporters quickly defended her, noting the irony that some of the same critics who complain about her Patreon often charge subscription fees on their own platforms. To them, criticizing Melody for monetizing her own brand feels hypocritical. Ultimately, her message was about setting business boundaries and understanding growth. Charging for exclusive content is a strategy used by many creators, and people have the freedom to support it or ignore it without tearing someone down for building their brand. She also encouraged creators to learn how to adapt instead of staying stuck. In the world of content creation, especially when discussing reality television like Love and Marriage Huntsville, things can change quickly. If a show slows down or the conversation shifts, creators have to pivot and explore new topics instead of blaming someone else for their lack of growth. Melody made it clear that opportunity doesn't last forever, and smart creators use momentum to expand while they can. She also stressed that content placed behind a paywall should be respected. When someone subscribes to a private membership platform like Patreon, there is an understanding that the material shared there is meant for members only. Reposting or leaking that content publicly violates that trust and ignores basic membership etiquette. In the end, Melody's message focused on choice and accountability. Nobody is required to subscribe, and nobody is obligated to pay, but criticizing someone for monetizing their own brand after years of free access can come across as unfair. Rather than getting pulled into endless arguments online, Melody appears focused on continuing to work, grow, and expand her platforms. She believes results will speak louder than debates. When a brand consistently delivers value and connects with its audience, the support naturally follows. Another important part of her message was understanding personal worth. For years, she allowed people to see her journey, including her successes, struggles, and growth. At some point, it becomes necessary to protect certain parts of that journey and place value on exclusive access. That decision isn't about greed, it's about business and maintaining control over one's narrative. Instead of attacking critics directly, Melody kept her focus on empowerment and personal responsibility. Her approach was simple. If someone doesn't want to subscribe, they don't have to. If they don't see the value, that's their choice. But for those who do appreciate the content and want deeper access, the option is available. In the bigger picture, this situation reflects an important lesson for anyone building a brand. You cannot remain accessible in the same way forever. As a brand grows, the business model evolves as well. Free content may help open the door and build an audience, but premium content often helps sustain long-term growth. Melody appears to understand this transition clearly. She is evolving, setting boundaries, and creating new opportunities while still maintaining a public presence. In the end, her message wasn't just about subscriptions or Patreon. It was about mindset, growth, and refusing to shrink simply because others feel uncomfortable with change. As the conversation continued to spread online, many supporters pointed out that Melody Shari has always been transparent about her journey and her work. Over the years, she has allowed fans to see both the good and the difficult moments in her life, especially during her time on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Because of that openness, people feel connected to her story. However, Melody's recent message reminded everyone that even public figures deserve to set limits on what they share and how they share it. Not every part of someone's life has to remain free or publicly available forever. Another point many people discussed was how common it is for creators to move toward membership platforms like Patreon. In today's digital world, creators often start by sharing free content to build an audience and establish trust. Once that audience grows, many of them introduce exclusive content for supporters who want deeper access. This model allows creators to continue producing content while also supporting their businesses financially. Melody appears to be following that same path, which is something many influencers and public figures eventually do. Supporters also argued that Melody's decision reflects long-term thinking. Instead of depending only on television exposure or social media algorithms, she is creating platforms that she can control directly. That approach gives her the ability to communicate with her audience without relying entirely on outside networks or changing trends. For many entrepreneurs, that kind of independence is a key step in building a stable brand. At the same time, Melody encouraged people to think about personal growth. She suggested that opportunities should be used wisely when they appear. When someone gains attention or momentum, that is often the best time to explore new ideas, build additional platforms, and expand into different areas. Waiting too long or relying on a single source of attention can sometimes limit future growth. Her comments also reflected a broader lesson about accountability. In any industry, especially content creation, success requires continuous effort and adaptation. If a creator builds an entire platform around one show or one personality, changes in that situation can affect their audience. Melody's advice was that creators should learn to evolve with those changes, instead of blaming others for them. Throughout the situation, Melody remained focused on work rather than arguments. Instead of going back and forth with critics, she emphasized progress and productivity. By continuing to update her platforms, launch projects, and engage with supporters, she is demonstrating that her attention is on building rather than reacting. In many ways, the situation highlights an important reality of modern media. Audiences have more access to public figures than ever before, but that access still comes with boundaries. Creators must balance openness with privacy and free content with premium offerings. Finding that balance allows them to protect their brand while still maintaining a relationship with their audience. For Melody, the shift towards exclusive content appears to be part of a larger strategy. She is still active publicly, but she is also creating spaces where her most dedicated supporters can connect with her on a deeper level. Platforms like Patreon make that possible by allowing creators to share additional content, conversations, and insights with a smaller group of committed followers. Ultimately, the discussion surrounding Melody's message reveals how quickly expectations can form around public figures. When someone shares their life openly for a long time, audiences can sometimes feel entitled to that access. Melody's statement reminded everyone that creators have the right to adjust their boundaries as their career evolves. Rather than focusing on criticism, she appears determined to keep moving forward. By continuing to work, expand her projects, and invest in her platforms, Melody is showing that growth often requires change. And in the world of entertainment and digital media, the people who adapt and build new opportunities are usually the ones who stay successful over time. As the conversation continued to spread online, many fans said the message from Shari also highlighted something deeper about how audiences interact with public figures. Over time, when someone shares so much of their life publicly, people can begin to feel like they have unlimited access. But Melody's statement reminded everyone that access to someone's life is still a privilege, not a permanent obligation. Just because a creator once shared something freely does not mean they must continue doing so forever. Many supporters also pointed out that Melody's journey has been very visible, especially during her time on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Viewers watched her go through personal challenges, career changes, and major life moments while being in the public eye. Because of that openness, people feel connected to her story. However, Melody's recent message reminded everyone that even public figures deserve to set limits on what they share and how they share.